Thanks, Ben. Yeah, no, I don't mind you overrunning at all. That's there's some good information there, so definitely worth going through that. Okay, I'm just gonna bring my screen up. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. That's the big question, isn't it? Can we see the screen?
Yep, should be good to go, I think.
Magic. Cool. Okay. Yeah, there's a few questions out there, Ben. I've been chipping away at a few. So some good conversations going on. So yeah, I'm Paul Winstanley. I'm an MEM consultant based in the UK. 25 years of experience in IT, half of that in the ConfigMgr MEM space. Yep, there's the blog SCCMmentor.com, which is just a tips and fixes type of thing around all this stuff. So take a look. And I'm also honoured to be part of the Microsoft MVP program as an enterprise mobility MVP. I've been on board since 2017, so that's a real privilege. So yeah, I'm covering one part of the what Microsoft term the cloud attach scenario. So Ben's gone through co-management. We also have the CMG, the cloud management gateway, and then this other thing which is tenant attach. I'm going to move the slide on by clicking on the right screen. Let's give it another go. Okay, so how is it different from the rest of the scenarios? Ultimately, tenant attach is attaching your ConfigMgr instance to the cloud. Now, the program group have spent back in the day moving from 2007 to 2012 many hours, many man hours of programming to get the 2012 console to us. To try and create something that would be web-based would require a huge effort. So as we know, from 2012 onwards, we see new things appearing in the ConfigMgr console, but we don't really see an overhaul of that. So Tenant Attach is a way for Microsoft to start to bring ConfigMgr into the cloud for us by attaching that instance. And Microsoft's thought around this initially is, who would benefit from this ability to manage? And really their first port of call is around the help desk scenario. Okay, so giving your first line support guys, whoever, that ability to manage things in the cloud. And they're the kind of features we're seeing lit up at the moment. What it also allows us to do, or what allows Microsoft to do, is to start adding more and more features over time. So we've seen this, as I say here, ConfigMgr 2002 as a minimum. So this is where we saw Tenant Attach come into play. But over the last 8 months or so now, isn't it? We've seen technical previews with new Tenant Attach features, etc. So if you're running 1909 at the moment, you can't tap into this yet. And to be honest, you're 12 months into support for that. So, 6 months to go and you're kind of looking to upgrade. So the recommendation is really to move forward. And because new features are coming in and being drip fed in, you will need to be running a particular release of ConfigMgr to get hold of that new feature and use it. So stay as current as you can. When it comes to setting up, a global admin is needed to set the services up. So that's the thing to be aware of. And also, we can only be running this in the Azure public cloud environment. Okay. So prereqs wise, I'm not going to dig too deep on this. I really want to show you some of the goodness that we get back from Tenant Attach. So these are things to look out for, really, for an account that's triggering device actions and doing things in Tenant Attach. That user account needs to be discovered in both the AAD user discovery and Active Directory user discovery. Note that user account should also have specific permissions set under the Intune admin roles for remote task, initiate configuration manager action should be enabled. And I think Ben mentioned this before, access to endpoints, internet endpoints is key here. So your site server needs access to, I think there's about 3 URLs, which it needs to be able to talk to. So check the documentation out on Tenant Attach to get the full list of those. Each particular feature may have slightly different prereqs, so you've just got to, again, go and check the docs out on that. But I thought I would highlight the application prereqs here. Things such as you should be added in as an admin user in the ConfigMgr microservice that gets created when you set up Tenant Attach. Read permissions on a device's collection, for example. Read permission for the app. But when you are deploying out an application, this checkbox here, an administrator must approve a request. This application on this device needs to be ticked when you create your deployment. So if you can see there, I will push out an application. It's already pre-configured in ConfigMgr as available, but I must have that box ticked, and then we'll see this application appear in the Tenant Attach applications feature. I think that's originally was like a pre-release feature that you would have to enable, but now that's pretty much standard. I think that's enabled by default. When it comes to troubleshooting, and trust me, I've troubleshot Tenant Attach on a few occasions on my lab, thanks to dodgy networking. We have the luxury of ConfigMgr logs. So I've highlighted the 3 logs really there that we need to take a look at. The admin service, the CM gateway notification worker, and the SMS REST provider logs. They're all on the site server. I'll show you the admin service log churn away, hopefully, when I click on a Tenant Attach feature. And as I mentioned before, it's really around permissioning and rights and access for everything else to kind of tie together and work. What if it's not working properly? Well, you can get errors like this. I mean, I had this 40 minutes before the presentation. So it was, okay, what's not working? So on this particular one, we're getting a timeout. So effectively, we can't talk from the Endpoint Manager admin center back down to ConfigMgr. Something's not right there, and we get the error about the service connection point. So that admin service log file and the CM gateway notification worker log, those first 2 mentioned there, they're the ones to check really for that kind of error. Another one, now this is particularly vague. Microsoft are kind of aware of the vagueness of the details on this error. So this is where I've clicked into client details and nothing's really happened. So I know the flow of comms is working, but there's an unexpected error. So Microsoft are actually going to improve the details on these kind of problems. They do have a troubleshooting page, which is well worth checking out. But in this instance, it was, as I say, particularly vague with no real information for me to look at. In the end, it was purely because my account that I was using to trigger this didn't actually have any ConfigMgr rights whatsoever. So it just couldn't do anything. As soon as I gave it permissions, I think in this instance, it needed some read on the device and on the collection. Everything kind of sprang into life and started working. And that particular error actually went out and blogged that one. So that's on the SCCM Mentor website. Okay, so slides wise, that's it for me. So I'm gonna really jump into demoing now, and fingers crossed, the comms are flowing. Otherwise, this won't be a demo on the features; it'll be a demo on troubleshooting the problems, which hopefully we can avoid. So to go into ConfigMgr itself, this is the area where you enable. As you can see, I'm highlighting the co-management node in the administration workspace. Okay, so this is already configured for me, so I can't go through the wizard. So I'm just going to go into the properties. It takes a moment or two to come up. Now, if you want to tenant attach, but you don't want to enable co-management at this point, that's fine. You can do that. You can just select not to enable co-management. And to do that, as you go through the wizard, here I've got co-management set up. I'm piloting, but I just have none selected here, so I can enable tenant attach without enabling co-management. As I say, you'll need to go through that process with a global admin, so you'll be signing in at this point. And then I think Ben showed this screen earlier, but we have, I'm going to zoom in here. Zoom, it's working. Yeah, great. We can upload to the MEM admin center, and you've got the choice here, all devices to upload, or you can be granular, go with a specific collection if you want. If you're piloting, I've gone gung-ho and I've just thrown everything up there. Now, what this means is I will have information on any type of device that I have in my ConfigMgr site. So that could be a server-based object or a desktop, laptop type device. So let me bring that up and you can see how that appears in the admin center. So here's my lab. I've got a mix of devices. So to give you an idea, we've got some co-managed devices here, some which are purely ConfigMgr. So we can select either of these and sort of work with them, but we've got some Intune based only devices. And if I click on that, okay. What I would normally see the tenant attach features down here. Now, because this is a pure Intune based device, I don't have any options there at all. So I don't see anything I can manage around that tenant attach wise. So I'm going to pick a device here and start to show you some of the tenant attach features. Now, because I've clicked through, as you can see, as I mentioned, you've now got these extra tenant attach features, and as I said earlier, this is all around help desk scenarios and that sort of thing. To give you an idea of the comms flow, if I click on collections preview, that's going to start churning away here, and if I flick back to my lab and open up the admin service log, try again. Things went slow for a moment. There's some activity here, so we're getting some conversation between the admin center and my ConfigMgr site. It's in slow-mo at the moment, so hopefully things are going to speed up. Otherwise, we won't be able to see anything. Right, okay, let's give it a moment. I'm going to flick back to the device itself. Come on. Okay. So you can see here we've got some information straight away for this particular device. Okay, we've got some information around sync policy for machine policy. Okay, so one has been run yesterday. So this is where something's been triggered from the admin center. So if I click on the dots here, I've got a choice of sync machine policy, sync user policy, or app evaluation. Now, because this is a web interface, this means I'm not tied purely to my desktop, so I can actually run this on a mobile, for example. Okay, so again, you know, this is not an app or anything. This is just pointing to the URL. Click on the dots. If this thing's going to spring to life, let's see. Yep, and I've got exactly the same choices there. So let's see if this is actually working, because what I'm noticing at the moment is my machine is extremely slow. So let's click machine policy, and it prompts me, yeah, do I want to request the client to download computer policy? So let's click yes. Okay, and it's initiating that sync. Let's bring that device up in the lab. And let's go to policy agent. And 3:59, that's the time now. So we've just had a check here for policy. So extremely fast. This is used in the BGB channel to action these kind of events. So very, very quickly, we run a sync on that device. So I can now be down at the beach, wherever. I'm constantly connected to ConfigMgr and able to do little things like this. I can't escape. All right, let's try something now here along the left-hand side. We've got all these new preview options, and hopefully it's going to click in and do something, because it was a little bit slow a minute ago. Let's just try and bring up the client details, for example. That's better. Okay. So again, for a help desk person, I can quickly eyeball things. Yeah. Is this device active? Yeah. When was it last active? I could quickly eyeball OS build. You know, is this a physical machine or a virtual? Little things like that, which I've got instant access to on the help desk, and I've not had to give that help desk person access to the ConfigMgr console itself. It's just purely assigned permissions here to bring these things back. Okay, Resource Explorer. Well, we're pretty used to Resource Explorer. You know, in ConfigMgr, we can right click on a device, click Start, and bring up the details. We're going to get pretty much the same thing back here. For example, I can click on Installed Applications, and this thing will eventually kick in and tell me what's installed on this device. But maybe not today. Here we go. Let's give it a moment. It's thinking about it. Is it going to do it? Yes, eventually. Okay, so as you can see, you know, Resource Explorer, we can utilize that directly here now in the web. Okay, timeline. I'm going to click onto timeline. This is a pretty cool feature that gives us some analytics against devices. So go, let's give it a moment. So initially, when we click on timeline, we're going to get a graph here of events that have happened on the device. Now, the initial view will give us events in the last 2 days. So we see no results initially. I can go into filter. And here we go. So we can see the type of events that we can check on. Yeah, so that we've got critical error, etc. The source where this type of event has come from. Is this an application error, a hang, a shutdown event? Is it something that ConfigMgr triggered, a Windows update? All these kind of events that are captured. And we can go back in total for 30 days. So let me set this back to the start of the month and apply, and hopefully we'll get some data back on this client. And we could use this data potentially to troubleshoot problems. Are we seeing applications crashing? Are those applications crashing based on something that's happened on the device? For example, have we run a Windows update on that recently? And that sort of thing. Now, I've actually got some errors on my device. So on this particular date, the 25th. If I scroll down here, I can filter these out by clicking. Oh, the 24th, we're getting this application crashing. I can click on that individually to get further information around that app crash. By digging further, I can go, okay, this application stopped. What's happened? Okay, we've had an update. Okay, is it an update that's causing a problem? Let's have a look at that. Oh no, well, actually that's an app-X, so maybe that's not the cause. But by taking a look at this, we may be able to see some patterns. Another example, I think this one here is, let me click on it. Okay, so on that particular date and time, we had an abnormal shutdown on the device. So this gives us some great analytics to start sort of looking at problems on particular machines. Someone might be saying, okay, my device, my device is failing, not crashing a lot at the moment, and you can use the timeline to dig in. So that's pretty cool. And as I say, you get 30 days of data there to check against. Collections wise, this could come in handy. It's a quick eyeball for the service desk guy. But say, for example, someone rings in and says, I need to install WinZip, and it's not appearing. I've been told it's, I should be getting that. The service desk guy can take a quick look. Oh, okay, the WinZip collection's not there. Maybe that's why this is not appearing on the device. So they could feed back information to the ConfigMgr admin, get it added, and hopefully fix the problem. But as I mentioned earlier, you can do application deployment as well via Tenant Attach. And this is a pretty cool feature. So long as you have that tick box ticked, as I mentioned earlier, on the deployment, then you'll see the application, and the device is in the collection being targeted. Obviously, you'll see the applications appearing here. Now, this will tell me the state that the applications are currently in. So, for example, 7-zip's being installed, Notepad, but Greenshot's not. Okay, so you have the situation where a user may go, okay, I want to install Greenshot. It is set as an available deployment, so effectively the user could actually go in the software center and click this, but where's the fun in that? Yeah, so this gives us the opportunity to push it from here. So if I click on this device, this app, you'll see here it's not installed. I can click the install button and that'll start to initiate the process. Again, we can flip back to the device, hopefully. Oh, okay, let me click on there, go back in. Let's give that a minute. There we go. Yeah, okay, so on the device itself, we take a look, and whilst I've been trying to reconnect back in, we can see Greenshot is actually come down as an enforced deployment, obviously doing the app discovery first, and Greenshot's installed. So super fast, instant comms really there. This will refresh shortly and come back and tell me that the state's actually installed. Again, that's just that little bit of slowness I'm encountering at the moment. Okay, CM pivot, there we go, application install. Let me just give that a quick refresh. And there we go, it's now back up as coming up as in an installed state. When it comes to uninstalling, I can't initiate that from here. That will be something that you can do in the software center. I could uninstall the application there at the moment. Hopefully that functionality is going to come in here at some point soon. But once it is uninstalled, this status will come back again as not installed. So it will pick up that change. CM pivot, I'm not sure. I know Ben's a big fan of CM pivot. I am myself, but it's great to have it here. But I'm finding it its usage limited because I'm currently having to click on one particular device and query that. So I could use it in certain situations, but I haven't really dug into it too much at the moment. But let's just give you one example. Again, let's look at installed software. So if I click on there and just give that a run, this is going to take probably about 15 seconds or so, depending, to come back with the results. And these will be identical to the results that we saw in Resource Explorer. So rather than sit through and watch that, we'll just assume that's going to happen. Okay, let's discard that. One thing I did want to go through though is the scripts feature for Tenant Attach. This is pretty cool. So whenever you publish in ConfigMgr as a script, PowerShell script will be available to you here. Now, if I click into this for the first time, this will be completely blank. Okay, so you may get confused about that initially. You know, where's my scripts, etc. The main body here, this section here, will only show you the state of a script that's been run. So that first time you go in, as I say, this will be blank. Now, actually creating the scripts in ConfigMgr, if you're not aware, okay, well, it's not gonna come up for me. It's bloody slow. All right, no worries. So what you would do is you go into the software library, and under there's the scripts node. Create the script. In that, enter the code. That would then need to be approved by someone else. You can't just have that script available straight away, and that's just to mitigate any potential risks, any malicious code that may cause big problems on your environment. So you have to go in and actually select. Here we go, it's back. So you go in and actually approve that as a different user. Yeah, there we go. So under software library and scripts. There we go. So that one's already been approved, as you can see. But if it hadn't been, I would have to go in there and run through a wizard and check the code first and then approve or deny that. Okay, so for this one, I can click on the run script action. And then in this section here, I would get a list of all the scripts that are available to me. And then I can actually action those and run. Okay, just give this a moment. This particular one, it's just checking for free space on a device. So this could be a perfect help desk type scenario script. That's run, great. So again, it could be someone's complaining that their computer's extremely slow. So we could run this script against the device and, you know, quick check on the hard drive space. So if I refresh that, you can see it was last run yesterday. That should update for me. That's the time now. Perfect. Okay, so I click on that, and this will give me the output on that. So we can check that. Oh, okay, 33 gigs free. Okay, so it's not a hard disk problem. Great. Okay. So that's a quick overview of Tenant Attach, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool. As I say, we're going to see some more things appearing here. More and more things from within ConfigMgr will start to come on board. Don't know what those are going to be, but the best way you can find out is by running the technical preview and keeping an eye on that. Give it a go, give it a test, and see what new things appear over time. Okay, I think that's pretty much it from me. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Alrighty, yeah, thanks a lot, Paul. Let me
Cheers.